Yeah, I'm shocked too that I'm doing this. But y'all can thank Alexis. You can thank Mel. You can thank Legacy for me watching this. We'll see how this goes. I don't know how I'm gonna do this because this is the first Now That's TV show that I'm actually gonna cover. Don't know if it's gonna be a full commitment. We'll see. We'll just take it week by week. But if you're new here, hit subscribe. Do that real quick. It's free of charge. We're on the road to 10K. Thumbs up the video. Do that as well. Also free of charge. And get down there in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. The more engagements, the more talking that y'all do with me, I'll probably commit to it. But if anything, these are going to come out on Mondays. I know they dropped the episodes, which I'm assuming 8 o'clock on Sundays. But I'm pretty booked up on Sunday, so we'll be doing this on Monday. But yeah, I just watched the first episode. This is kind of be like a review type recap. If y'all know me, you know I'm super detailed. Unless it's something super important, I'm probably just going to glaze through it and give you my just overall thoughts. But yeah, we're going to get into it. All right, so we start off with Ferrari. As we know, this is her show. You can tell she wants to be the Natalie Nunn of this show or this network. You can just tell just by the way she acts in her confessionals. They're very forced. But she's talking about, at the beginning, she's recapping the first, I guess, a scene that's for a future scene where they're all on a bus partying or whatever. It looks like they were having a good time, and then one thing leads to another, and somebody ends up getting jumped. And then it turns into a big old melee. But we'll see that later on in the season. But they start off basically stating that they're doing like a little trial run of the girls that they're considering for moving to Cancun, which is where they're going to eventually be at, and see who's going to make the cut to get to Cancun. So we get to the intros. The first girl that we meet is Chastity. Chastity, I can tell, is either going to get in a lot of trouble because of that mouth, especially at this reunion, because she's very, very vocal in them confessionals. We'll see if it transfers into real time. But she's got a lot of opinions. But she's pretty. She's a hairstylist. She's from Chicago. She says she's fun and unbothered, and she's already drunk. So she's the first one to walk into the house, which I was writing as I was writing. I said this looks like the house that they filmed the last season's reunion in, which we find out it is. But she's expecting to see pretty girls that aren't crazy, but not too crazy. But we get Minnie, who comes in saying she's from the J. I'm like, where is the J? But we find out that's from Jersey. She says she does what she wants and she don't fuck with fake bitches. We'll get to her in a minute. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not feeling her already. We get Nug, who I was not feeling from season 2. I'm going to come in here trying to give her a clean slate, but not a fan of her, but we'll see if she ends up turning me. But she's talking about how the fans thought she wasn't coming, a.k.a. they didn't want you to come, obviously. And she says she's here, like, you know what I'm coming with, and you know how I'm coming. We don't know how you coming. Because we know how you were prior to Ivory getting there, but then we saw how you acted once Ivory was there. You were trying to impress her. So we'll see how you act this time. But Nug, she pretty much confirms that the house is where it is, which is the reunion. And she's looking for her ops, which is a.k.a. Mel and Legacy. And they start getting to know each other, all the girls that are currently there right now. And Nug ends up saying that she wants to be positive this time around, but she's going to be on whatever it is whenever somebody comes. So, yeah, you do need to change your perception in the way that you were treated. Not the way that you was treated. The way that you portrayed yourself in the last season to make it better for yourself in terms of the fans this season, because I didn't like the way Nug was acting. But she ends up saying, or not her, Chastity ends up saying that she would turn for Nug because she can kind of already tell that Nug likes women. And she says she kind of gives like a stud vibe. And she says essentially Nug could get it if she wanted to get it. But Chastity ends up saying that she's there to be cute and be reckless whenever she needs to be. Minnie ends up saying that she's not here to make friends. Funny that she said that. We'll get to that in a minute. But she said she's not there to make friends, but she out here calling girls that she ain't known but an hour or two her bitches. But we'll get to that. But she says she's trying to get reckless. The amount of times I've heard the word reckless in this one episode irritates me, but especially from Ferrari. But Chastity, she ends up saying or asking Nug, like, who are you waiting on? And Nug ends up saying Legacy because she did some weird shit. What weird shit? And then you want to fight Legacy when you know you can beat Legacy. Like, what's the point in that? And then she says if Mel needs that, she can get that. Yeah, Mel, if it's, you can tell she wants to fight Legacy more so than Mel, which is funny because Mel actually got her behind. And it's like, it's not an easier win with Mel as it would be with Legacy. But we get the next set of girls coming in. Yasmin, she's from Tallahassee, Florida. Everybody's saying the same shit that everybody else says. I'm here to do this. I'm here to do that. She comes in walking in as Chastity is talking about who she got beef with. And Chastity ends up saying that her one beef is with this girl named Nene because, is it Nene or Nene? I think it's Nene. She ends up saying that she jumped her, and because of her getting jumped, she ended up in her. Which, I mean, if you're new here, you don't know. But if you're not new here, you know. I always say, whenever you jump in me, I'm using weapons. I'm not using my hands. So I'm like, I don't blame her for that. But Chastity ends up saying that she had ran 6 rounds with another girl, and that's when Nene decided that she wanted to come in and jump her, and they was pretty much jumping her for more and more rounds. And Chastity said essentially they went 10 rounds with 10 different, like she pretty much saying, I went 10 rounds and got tired. That's when I then pulled out the you know what and got to doing what I was doing. But she said she's going to be on that whenever she comes in there. She knows she's going to be on that type of timing with her, so she's ready for it. But Chastity ends up saying, too, like, Nene is strong. She got endurance. She don't stop, so I know I got to prepare for that. But Nug ends up asking and talking about, like, who leaked the shit that was in the group chat. Don't know what they're talking about, but we're going to run with it. They end up start talking about Renee from last season being the one, apparently, that did it. And Nug ends up saying that Renee was doing that because she was mad that she wasn't on season 3. Renee, from what I remember, she was too busy trying to get on Baddies, any type of Baddie show, whether it was Baddies the main show or the Baddies Gone Wild, from what I remember. But maybe she did want to be on season 3. I don't know. But they start taking shots. We then get the next set of girls coming in. Kennedy, Big K from Milwaukee. I feel like I'm liking her. Hopefully, fingers crossed, she doesn't do anything to make me not. But right now, out of the girls that have been here, she's definitely one of the ones that I like. I like her energy. She's pretty. Amber, she comes in next. She's from Harlem. She says she's not just reckless when it comes to just getting in the field. Like, she likes to put on shit and look good and be pretty and not just be reckless in the field, a.k.a. fighting all the time like the rest of them girls love to do, which I liked hearing that from her. But then we got Snow Blue. She apparently has been in music videos in this show called Bad Bitches Only, which I'm assuming is on this network. I don't know because I don't watch. But they come in with the energy and whatever. And Kennedy and Snow, they go down the line trying to give everybody hugs and stuff that is there. Amber gets to Minnie, and Minnie's sitting there kind of like, nope, don't touch me, And Amber's confused, like, what the fuck is going on? And she says, like, not too much, not too much. So Minnie ends up saying that she don't know Amber. And Amber did some bullshit that she didn't fuck with, and that's why she don't fuck with her. I was like, I wonder why, before we got to the reason why. But they start introducing themselves and whatever, and Kennedy ends up saying that them girls that are there were giving hater in the group chat, and she knows it's going to be some drama. And, of course, that's exactly what it was. But they start talking about what they feel it means to be a young and reckless and yada yada, the same old stupid shit. But Minnie, she ends up then addressing Amber about the issue that she has with Amber, which is not an issue. It's so stupid, but we're about to get into it. But she pretty much asked her about if she needs that because some prior issue when Amber had fought some girl, I guess at the auditions, is what I'm piecing together. Apparently Amber was bleeding and she was bleeding too close to Minnie, which makes Minnie want to fight. I'm like, you're a weirdo. You're a weirdo. That's why you want to fight. But Minnie ends up saying that Amber was bleeding around her and she don't fuck with that. Weird. But Amber pretty much says, okay, if you got an issue, let's get it. So they get up, and this first round looked like a tie to me. Both of them was swinging. Both of them was hitting each other in the head. Nobody really, truthfully, in my opinion, took over and really got the W. Because security broke it up. They both were swinging, trying to hit each other through security. But like I said, first round was given a tie for me. So they ended up separating them. Kennedy ends up saying they was just really throwing them off some blood, like a little smidge of blood. Like I said, like for real. Like they fighting over nothing over here. But security ends up separating them. Amber then says that she tore Minnie up in that first round because she left out in one piece, whereas Minnie ain't got her wig. I said, I mean, I guess, but to me it looked like a tie, but I ain't gonna argue with you. But Kennedy, she's enjoying the show. Minnie ends up saying that she wants to run it again because it was fun. Snow ends up saying, y'all faces are good, like why do y'all want to keep going? Like y'all just did it already, so what's the point? But Snow gets in her confessionals and says she feels like Amber got the first round. Kennedy and company, they now standing up on the stairs behind the couches where they was just at, waiting for the next round to be ran. And Amber comes back in the house, and they run it again. This time, Minnie definitely was getting Amber. Hard, too. Hitting her good. This one was Minnie's round. But Amber, she's outside now because she done got popped in her face. And she's telling Snow that she wasn't ready, and she's mad because she wasn't ready. I'm like, how are you not ready? You just ran one round. If you came in there not really giving it your all, then that's your own fault. You played. But she's out there doing that. Amber says she got cocky the second round and didn't come in expecting much from old girl. And I said, you never underestimate your opponent because you never know what's going to happen in that next round. But Amber is hiding from the cameras because it looked like she was over there leaking. But Snow ends up getting her an ice pack or whatever. But the rest of the girls, they're back in the living room having fun. Nug is looking at Kennedy like she wants that, which eventually she ends up doing the same thing with Yaz. But we'll get to that in a minute. But Chastity is saying in her confessionals that a lot of them are giving. That's exactly what it was giving. But Snow and Amber, they're sitting out back pretty much talking about what just happened. Amber said she wasn't expecting all of that this soon because they're pretty much fighting over stupid shit and not fighting over anything that really matters. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But Snow ends up saying, like, we all essentially knew what we were coming for and what we were possibly going to expect coming on this show. So basically, get your runs, run it, and get on. But she pretty much says, like, she feels like her taking this L, the first L of the season, is doing something to Amber. But Amber pretty much says, like, I only care because I don't like walking around with a black eye because I like to look cute. I like to put shit on. These bitches are okay with walking around with black eyes and fucked up faces because that's all they do. And I'm like, you're not lying. You're not lying. But Lauren is my favorite from this first episode, easily. She arrived. She's from ATL. She got her own mind. She proved it later on. But she ends up saying that she was playing the background when she first got in there, just sitting around peeping everybody out, seeing what everybody's doing, filling out the scene. That would be me. She ends up saying initially Minnie had stood out to her because she be doing the most, doing too much for camera time. I said, you better clock it. She ends up saying, as Amber and Minnie are going back and forth, she ends up saying that in her confessionals. But then we get Key Baby and Sai from season 1. Did not like Sai. We're going to get into her in a minute. But Sai ends up saying that she knows people are wondering why she's there. I'm one of those people. But Sai ends up saying that the girls can't compare. And she's saying this in her confessionals. These girls can't compare to me. And you can't compete where you don't compare. And they need to know their place because they're newbies. I said, okay. You're one of those. But they move to the table as a group. They're all sitting over there. They got food. They over there eating some chicken. And Minnie ends up still being concerned about Amber. Amber sitting there with shades on, covering that black eye. Minnie is pretty much stating that she can tell Amber wants to be her friend or whatever so bad. And Amber sitting there laughing and stuff, trying to play it off or whatever. Amber doesn't have, it's clear Amber don't have an issue with Minnie. Minnie clearly wants to have an issue with Amber because it's an easy way to get a storyline. And not only that, she knows she can beat her now. So it looks corny to me. But Minnie ends up saying, like, Amber needs to let her, Minnie ends up saying that she's going to let Amber breathe because it gave off pussy the way she was acting. I'm like, you didn't have a reason to fight her. Like, what is the point? But then we get Caribbean who arrives. She comes in with shades on. They're asking her, like, take your shades down so we can see what your eyes look like. And she pulls them down, and they're like, oh, you cute, you cute, you cute. Caribbean cracked me up in her confessionals because she's like, they sitting here talking about you cute. She was like, are you? Like, that's the real question. I'm cute. Are you? I was like, exactly. But they then start talking about Amber and Minnie again. And they start questioning if Minnie actually likes Amber, which to a certain degree it might be given that. But Amber ends up saying that they can run another fade and then they can be cool. Minnie ends up saying, so do you want to do it right now? Amber says we can do it tomorrow because of my eye. I'm like, okay. And then Amber stood down, but then Nug ends up putting a battery in her back saying, y'all are literally right here face to face. Don't know. She's sitting here saying that she wants to fight you. Why are you letting somebody essentially put an appointment on y'all's fade? Put the battery in her back because guess who gets up? Minnie gets up to try and go fight now because she just got told by somebody that she wants to be friends with that you need to go fight her. And that's literally what happened. And then she ends up getting up and security ends up stopping them. And Amber's sitting there talking about that eye again still. And Minnie ends up saying to Amber that we can do it tomorrow, but don't do it when I'm trying to be cute. Like, we're going to get it done before I'm trying to look cute. So Chastity ends up saying that Minnie should not let anybody change her perspective on how she feels. And I'm like, exactly. Like, the way she's acting, she don't really want to fight this girl. And it's like, the only reason why you're doing it is because you want to impress Nug, you want to impress the fans, and you're not. I'm pretty sure you're not. I haven't checked to see what anybody's saying, but I'm almost positive nobody is a fan of this type of corny activity. But Ferrari then comes in with her punk self, and she comes in asking, like, what's going on with their beef and whatever. But she then tells him, like, we're 3 seasons in, does her little speech that she does at the beginning of the seasons. Y'all need to be young and reckless, show out. With her saying that, guess who decides they want to show out again? Minnie. She then throws a water bottle at Amber, which Amber throws one back. I'm like, you're a cornball. I do not like Minnie. Do not like her. But she ends up doing that. We get to the next scene. Ferrari ends up sitting them down in the living room, and she's sitting there saying like, "Oh, well, they in here, y'all in here fucking up my room, fucking up my house, and whatever." You literally just told, you basically, you know what she was doing, Ferrari. She knows by her saying y'all need to show out, y'all need to do this and do that. You want them to fight. And now that she tried to do it, now it's a problem. It's a problem because she has no reason to do it. And not only that, she's only doing it because y'all are forcing her to do it, or at least putting a battery in her back to do it, which is corny. But she acting like Natalie Nunn. Like, pretty much egging something on, and then when it happens, you want to act like they was doing something crazy. But she ends up telling them to go upstairs and go find their rooms, which I'm almost positive this was planned to have some drama. But they got name tags on the name or on the rooms or whatever. I see Alexis's name. I see Legacy's name. I need those women in here now. That's the only reason why I'm watching. But they head into their rooms, and Minnie goes up there to move Snow's name tag out of the room with Nug and Yaz because she wants to be in there with them. Of course, because she looks at them as the head honchos, and she wants to be in there with them. But Snow comes in looking for hers, and Minnie comes in and tells her that she put her name on another room. Snow's asking just where is it at. She ain't worried about it at this point. Like, it's pointless. But Snow goes into her other room and sees that she got her own bed. Yes, it is a bunk bed, but she got her own bed. She ain't sharing a bed with nobody, and she's happy about that. I ain't mad at her because I would have been happy too. But Nug, she likes Yaz. Yaz likes her. We'll see if that happens to be something or just naturally vibing. But back downstairs, Ferrari ends up asking the girls like who they feel should not be there. And here go Minnie again, pointing at Lauren and Sai. And Sai's like, why? Lauren's like, why? So Sai ends up saying in her confessionals that these new hoes need to stop trying to start with her because I don't like it. But we'll get to her in a minute. But Lauren ends up telling Minnie, you're doing a lot for camera time, which she is. And Lauren ends up saying in her confessionals that Minnie rubbed her the wrong way. She rubbing me the wrong way too. But Nug ends up telling Minnie as well, you're doing a lot. You need to leave these people alone because you're in the room with me. I don't want you bringing that drama in here with me because AKA if these girls want to fight you and you're in my room and I'm in this room, they might come in here and it might fuck up my own peace, which I can't believe it. I'm agreeing with Nug. But Minnie ends up saying that she's not going to bring the shit in their room. If they're going to do anything and they're going to fight, they're going to do it out there. Pretty much trying to impress Nug, like I said. But Sai ends up saying that she don't know any of them girls. She's not picking any beef with any of them because her ops are on the way. Legacy and Alexis. Ferrari ends up asking who Sai's ops are, knowing who they are. Sai ends up saying, I'm not going to say no names. You already know. But Sai's mouth in the scene is not matching them confessionals. The energy that she has in them confessionals is not matching in real time. She's saying in her confessionals essentially that Minnie needs to shut the fuck up when talking to her and stay in her place. But she's saying that she's only been there for an hour or whatever, but Minnie will see what she's about. In real time, she's saying like, I've only been here for an hour. If you really want to see what I'm about, you'll see in a minute. But in her confessional, she pretty much like, she needs to shut the fuck up talking to me. Why don't you say that shit to her now when she pressing you? But she goes around asking why Minnie had changed the room. Ferrari does. And because Ferrari's upstairs now, she's looking at the room, seeing that there's like 5 different names on one room now. And she realizes the names that are there were not the names that were there initially. And she goes around asking why Minnie moved the rooms. And Minnie ends up saying because she wanted to be with her bitches. With the bitches that you just met. Like maybe an hour or two. And they're already your bitches. Type of people that always call people their friends super quick. Weird. Watch them. But Ferrari ends up asking, like, who are your bitches? Like, you literally just made. Same thing I just said. But Minnie ends up saying that she had told all of them they could use. They could be her bitch today, but they could also be her op tomorrow. And I'm like, you're a weirdo. But Minnie ends up saying that she would rather sleep with Nug and Yaz instead of them bitches. And Yaz was like, well, go down there and tell them that. So Ferrari takes Minnie down to the girls at the other room. And Ferrari ends up telling them that Minnie said that she don't want a room and sleep with them bitches. And Minnie pretty much cops to it. She says, yeah, I said that. Lauren, who's standing there in front of her, says, so leave then. I said, exactly. Like, why are you in my face then? If you don't want to sleep with us and you don't want to be in the same room with us, why are you in the room? Bye. So then Minnie ends up saying, well, I already did. So they start going back and forth. So leave. Go, I already did. So leave. I already did. So they going back and forth. And Yasmin ends up putting a battery in Minnie's back and says, well, tell her, no, you're not leaving. Tell her to get you up out of there. Basically trying to get her to fight. And Minnie's sitting there like, she ain't doing nothing. Yeah, you learn real quick. Lauren ends up saying that she had let Minnie slide earlier when she tried her. Now she want to come in here popping her shit and telling her to make her leave the room. Lauren was just, you could tell she was just ticking, and that bomb was about to blow. But one thing led to another, and Lauren socked her ass. Socked her good, too. Security ends up breaking them up. Ferrari likes Lauren, obviously. And Minnie is now looking for Lauren, who's downstairs, and Minnie's sitting there crying because you done got your ass popped. They go downstairs again, which is the cliffhanger for the rest of the episode for next week. They go another round, and Lauren was in there in her shit, backing her into that wall, uppercutting her, doing what she needed to do. I love Lauren. I like Lauren already. Next week, the finest thing walking, the reason I'm sitting here talking about this show, Alexis arrives. She's wanting it with Sai. 2 more girls arrive to run phase with other girls. I don't know their names. We'll find out next week. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop a comment down below. Thumbs up the video. Subscribe if you're new here. Let me know y'all's thoughts. I'll be back, maybe. Yeah, I'm going to be back because Alexis is coming. I'm going to be back on Monday. So I'll see y'all then. Peace.